All right. Well, let's keep things moving right along. Let's stay on schedule. I'm really excited for our next speaker. We have Yara Barros joining us. She is a biologist who has worked with conservation of endangered species all of her life. She's a coordinator of the Jaguars of Iguazu project, working for conservation of jaguars in Atlantic Forest in Brazil. She's also a member of the Conservation Planning Specialist Group 9C-PSG of the IUCN. So I'm going to bring her in live with us right now. Here we go. Hey, Yara, how are we doing tonight?
Hi, Joe. How are you? Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm watching the lectures. It's amazing. I love it.
Oh, it's so great to have you joining us. It seems like such a long time since we connected and we had a test call together, and now it's so great to have you live in the festival, ready to share your story with us.
Okay, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, let's let you take over for a little bit. We're excited to dive into your world, and then of course we'll have a little Q&A time.
Okay, I'll share my screen. Let's see.
All right. Always a bit of an adventure with the share screen. You never know what technology is going to do, but I see it coming up, so that looks good.
How is it? Can you see it?
Perfect. We're ready.
Okay. So, hi everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm always loving to talk about Jaguars. It's always a pleasure. I am the executive coordinator of the project Jaguars of Iguazu. Jaguars is onça in Portuguese. So our mission, this is Kaluana, an amazing male that we have in the forest, is the conservation of jaguar as a key species for the conservation of the whole national park biodiversity, actually. Because as a key species, we used to say, if there are jaguars, there is life. So if the jungle is good enough to have, in a long term, a jaguar population, it means that it's doing well. And where we are, well, we are in Brazil, in the south of Brazil, here in in the state of Paraná, here in the border of Argentina and Paraguay, and here is the national park. As you can see, I used to say it's an island of life in the middle of a very deforested state, and a very important place for many endangered species, including jaguars. And when we talk about Iguazu National Park, everyone thinks about that, the falls. Of course, the falls are there. They are absolutely amazing and stunning, but the national park is much more than that. If you see here, all this is the national park, and here are the falls. So it's a minimum, what you can see when you visit, it's a minimum area. The park has 185,000 hectares. There are 10 cities around. Here is Argentina and Brazil. So we will not save jaguars by working only inside the national park. As Yvonne was saying, the work with the community is very important. So we work in the 10 cities around the national park. This is India, one amazing female with her cub, Mitacoré. So people say, why do you focus on jaguars? Well, because it's an apex predator. It's an umbrella species. What means that if the jungle is okay if the place is okay for jaguars, many other species will benefit of that. So by protecting jaguars, you end up protecting lots of other species. We have two species of big cats in the region. We have pumas also, or cougars. And the jaguar distribution, jaguar has a problem. It's an endangered species. In the country, it's endangered. It lost basically half of its historical distribution. The dark green is the actual one, and the light green, the historical one. As you can see, it lost half of its area. And from what is left, 50% is in Brazil. So we have a lot of responsibility in keeping this species going. And we work basically in three. No, don't do this to me. Let's see. This is Peter. We work in three pillars, basically. We work with awareness, we work with research, and coexistence. We always say, people say, is this a research project? To say, no, it is a conservation project that has research as one of its pillars. This is Kaluana. In terms of awareness, we have lots of products to work with the community. We call products. We have Jaguar Chat, we have Jaguar at School, Jaguar on the Road, a kind of pint of science with Jaguars. We go, this is Chagalini, we go to schools or bring kids to the national park, and we talk about Jaguars, about the animals in the region, about security issues. So we talk and talk and talk to children. I used to say that if a child will baptize his doll, we are there talking about Jaguars. We are always talking about Jaguars the most we can. Of course, all the activities with the community were a little. We have to stop a little bit during the pandemics, the worst phase of the pandemics. But now we resume it after my team is vaccinated. We are resuming them. Jaguar Talk, we go to communities in the end of the day with people who live on the border of the national park and talk to them about security, about good management practices, how they can manage their cattle so they are less vulnerable to big cat predation. This is our version of Pint of Science. Many people doesn't want to come to formal lectures or stuff, so we go to a bar and talk to them about Jaguars. And we drink, obviously, which is very nice. And this is Jaguar on the Road. Basically, we get our stuff, and to whatever there are people, we are there. Fairs, exhibitions. So this is with Boy Scouts here in many different towns. We just go there, put our booth, our Jaguar booth, and then we talk and make activities with children, adults. And we have a very good response from the public. We created a citizen science program called Team Pantera. So at the moment we have only 9 people on Team Pantera from 4 cities. We train them. They spend 2 days being trained by us, and we visit them regularly. So they are our focal points in the cities where they live. 2 of them even created a trail inside the national park called Jaguar Trail. They keep it. It's an amazing experience. And this is basically what we want. We want to replace the fear that people has about Jaguars for enchantment. This is something that Jeff Swanagan said, touch the heart to teach the mind. We want people to know that Jaguars are not there in the border of the forest and waiting to jump on your neck and kill you. They just want to be Jaguars and be in the forest and do their Jaguar stuff. Because this thing of thinking that Jaguars are always ready to kill you is what feeds this fear, and you tend to want to stay away from what you're afraid of. You want it dead or you want it away from you. And we want to try to change this with information. And I always say that I like to use enchantment as a tool. Because I think that only knowledge by itself doesn't have a transforming power, but when enchantment opens the door, and knowledge comes in a more transformative way. So we work a lot to make people fall in love with Jaguars, to make them see Jaguars through our eyes because they're full of love. And I like to use this example. This was many, many years ago when I was young. And I didn't even dream about working with Jaguars. I was working with macaws at the time in this Amazon. And in town, we saw this. This is a very young Jaguar. And I said, why the hell did you kill this animal? And they said, well, because maybe one day when he goes grow up, he will kill our cows. Just maybe. So they kill just in case. So the fear that people has kill animals. And not only Jaguars, everything they're afraid of. So this thing, no, this cannot be like this. So we work to change this. This is Thiago. We work a lot with coexistence. If you can see, here is the national park. Here people living. So we want them to share the land in a peaceful and harmonic way. So we are there all the time. Last year we made like 250 visits to 78 properties around the park. We are there all the time. We don't go there and say, oh, okay, good luck. We are there all the time. We talk to them. We see them. And basically people who are excluded somehow, they are fed up of being visible. So when you see them, when you talk to them, understand the fears, understand what they think, it's amazing. And this close contact that we have allow us to diminish the fear that people has, build a confidence relationship. And there are papers, articles that show that, because with Jaguars, the perceived the perceived risk is actually bigger than the real risk. And when people trust who is in charge of managing this animal, it decreases the perceived risk and increases the tolerance. So our constant presence increases the tolerance, and it's an amazing opportunity to exchange knowledge with these people because they are amazing. And we produce a lot of material also to support these activities, from to how to dispose carcass disposal, because here it is a problem, how to coexist with jaguars, what are the animals of the national park, so people can connect not only with jaguars but with the national park. Jaguars exist, they need a national park that is very well and kicking, alive and kicking, so we also want them to connect with the national park. And we work with predations. Everyone who works with big cats will face this. This is C3. This is an old male. As you can see, he's blind now with one eye. And when someone, this is on predation event, and when someone tells us, oh, they phone us, oh, I have a dead cow, or I saw some footprints, or we try to go immediately, although the area is huge and we are only 5 people or 4 people. We go immediately as soon as possible, and we notice that this makes a difference because they don't have to shoot first and ask later. They know if they call, we'll go. We evaluate the situation. We identify the predator by fixing the carcass in the floor and putting camera traps so we can know exactly which predator was. Even if you by the carcass you see it's a jaguar or a cougar or dogs, we want to identify which jaguar. We install lots of preventive measures like electric fences, blinking lights, bells with blinking lights, painting the butt of the cows with big eyes. So every possible protection device available, we try. And we are having success with many of them in many properties. For a year, whenever time there is a predation, we go there, do everything, install cameras and the devices to prevent predation, and we monitor this place for a year at least. It's a continuous monitoring. At least once a month, we're there, sometimes more. And we try to identify alternative sources of income, because when you get there, the first question is, you're gonna capture this jaguar and take it away. Okay, we said, no, well, there's no way. There's nowhere else to take this animal. And second question, you're going to pay for this cow. Okay, we said, no, we will not. First, we don't have money, which is a very good reason. But we also think that only reimbursing doesn't solve the problem of bad management. If you just pay them, they will feel they will not be stimulated to change the management many times, because we also provide guidelines about how to manage your cattle to avoid predation. Many times you don't need big devices or electric fences. Just small adjustments in management helps. And we help them through this process of changing the management. And regarding alternative sources of income, what we try to do is, if we have a talent, we identify a talent that is already there to produce a product or a service, we help them develop these talents. So they generate or a product or a service to which the jaguar can aggregate value. And this aggregates value in keeping the jaguars alive. This is Marcus. These are Marcus and Susie. They had in 2018 3 cows killed by a puma. And they were super angry when we got there. And we implemented lots of protective measures, the protection devices, and then we saw he fabricated cheese. We said, well, where do you sell this cheese? No, just here in the community. So we started to advertise about this cheese. We named it Jaguar cheese, queijo da onça, and he started to sell a lot. And now he developed into much more than that. He created, behind the national park, his area, he created this kind of kiosk called Jaguarete Ranch. Jaguarete is jaguar in Spanish. And now he has a bar, he sells products, he built a pool, he built a camping area. He's receiving lots of bikers, lots of visitors, and he's making a lot of money. This area became a super success. And now he built this. It's a Toca da Onça is like a Jaguar Airbnb, and he rents to people. So he's making money because of the Jaguars and Cougars, without us having to give him money. And also, he was like invisible, because he used to say when he wanted help from the city, no one wanted to help him. And now he gives interviews on TVs. He tells people the stories of Jaguars and Cougars. He's respected. He's admired for helping us. So he's a very good partner. He used to say, he and Susie used to say, they never thought a puma could bring him so much happiness. And he used to say, if I knew things would get that good, I would have been given 3 cows more for the cougar. I don't think he would, but it's good to see that he associates the improvement and his financial improvement to cougars and jaguars and to the work he does with the project. We also give the signs of property, jaguar-friendly property. So people who work with us, this is Jorge from Other Property. Properties who work with us, help us, implement the measures we propose, receive us well, let us install cameras in their property. They receive this. It's not a certification, it's not an ISO, but it is we recognizing your importance, we recognizing your help, your value. And we did 4 properties so far. It started last year and it's going really well. And this is Croissant. We also work with research, and the main lines of research as we know we have jaguars, but how is the prey base? Do they have food available? So we are conducting a long-term study on prey base together with other researchers in all the Atlantic forest. We work with diet, not like Pantanal, when you see jaguars jumping in the water hunting caimans in the forest. Very, very rare that you see a jaguar. So we collect feces and they are evaluated to check the content. We have lots of camera traps installed. This is Vanya, who works with research. We have many camera traps installed in the park. And we also make a general monitoring of fauna in the park. So we get amazing, we have biodiversity, anteaters, peccaries, deers. This is all jaguar prey. Tapirs. We had one jaguar that predated one huge tapir. Ocelots. Jaguarundi. And a kind of egret called hirsocó. We call it cutia, it's kind of a guti. And Tyra. So this way we also monitor, we evaluate continuously the biodiversity in the park. And now we started to sampling the corridors, the vegetation corridors outside the park. Here is the national park. Here are some vegetation corridors. Each yellow dot is a camera. So we want to see if big cats are using these areas and their potential to be developed as connectivity corridors to other areas. We also capture and monitor jaguars. For us, it's very important to understand their movements, the size of their territory, because help us understand their need and how they use both countries, because we are in the border of Argentina. We work very closely with Proyecto Yaguareté in Argentina. We used to say that we are projects divided by a river, united by the jaguars. So the GPS collars, they help us to monitor them via satellite that we receive the points where the animals are. But sometimes when we have problems with the GPS, we can fly over the park and try to get a VHF sign, and then we could go walking in the forest and find the collar or some points where there is a cluster of points and find maybe a prey, and it's an amazing view. This is Croissant that we captured in 2018. Just to show the importance, here are all the points that Croissant sent. Here is Brazil. Here is Argentina. Croissant is one of the 7 jaguars already identified that cross between Brazil and Argentina all the time. So as you can see here, he has a home range of 264 square kilometers and a territory of around 66 kilometers. So this is a very important data for us. And we do a census of the animals. This is the longest and biggest effort to census jaguars. Every 2 years, together with Proyecto Jaguareté, we sample an area of 600,000 hectares in the two countries. It's simultaneous. And in the 90s, they estimate that inside the national park in Brazil, we had 765 jaguars, and it dropped dramatically in 2009 from 9 to 11 animals. So the population was almost extinct. They were being killing to extinction, local extinction. And then conservation work, I work with the police to try to impede the activity of illegal hunters. Make the population starting to increase. It more than doubled in 10 years. We are super happy. And the last census was 2020. This is an estimation, not an exact number, but the carrying capacity is 50. So we still have a long time to go. This year is a census year. In 2 months, we're going to start we put camera traps all over the park, and they stay there for 3 months. So we have around 24 animals in Brazil, but if you consider all the green corridor, considering Brazil and Argentina, we have an estimation of 90 jaguars. If you consider all the Atlantic forest here, that is Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay, the Atlantic forest has 250 to 300 jaguars. So this region where we are has basically 1/3 of all the jaguars in the Atlantic forest, and is the only population in the Atlantic forest that is increasing. So it's our pride, but also a huge responsibility. And we have amazing, and on this very hard work, because it's a very hard work, convincing people that an animal that they fear has the right to survive is not a very simple task. We have this amazing thing. This is Indira, which means pure beauty. Her with 5 months old crossing the road inside the national park. And here, when she was already 3 years old in 2021, so reached sexual maturity. And this amazing thing. This is Indira with her cub, Aritana, already now he's almost 2 years old. So it's so difficult that a jaguar reach the adult age. It can die for so many reasons. And see Indira, that we basically saw her as a baby, as a cub, and now be a mother, it's an amazing experience. And we used to say, I know it's kind of cheesy, but I used to say that to save jaguars, you have to talk about love. To say anything, you have to talk about love. People will not help us save jaguars because they are endangered. For many people, this doesn't mean a thing. So they will help us save jaguars if they don't want to live in a world where this golden eyes doesn't exist anymore. They have to fall in love with these eyes and believe, no, I will be part of it. I always used to say that to work with conservation, you have to transform people from spectators to actors of the process. We always say to people, let's take care of our jaguars together. So we don't say it's our jaguars, it's the jaguars of the national park. We say it's our jaguars. It belongs to all of us. So this is how we work. So we work a lot in Facebook, Instagram, and we use a very simple language, a language that people can connect to. This is we have a very small team. We are 4 people working like crazy to work in this huge area. And we are absolutely, I'm very lucky. We are 5 people with me. I am very lucky to have this very motivated and passionate team. And as Arnaud said, conservation is you don't do it alone. You always need help. So we are very thankful to our many collaborators and sponsors that make possible for us to work. I think I talked too much. So very quickly and briefly, this is the work we do here to protect the jaguars.
All right. Well, Yara, thank you so much. That is, I mean, you said you thought you talked too much, but it was just not enough time to share all the amazing work that you're doing. And the results, I mean, speak for themselves. That story that you shared of that couple who have kind of completely flipped 180 on their opinion on jaguars, and they're they're champions now. They're doing so much. They've
Yeah.
gained so much, and they're doing so much, it sounds like, to help protect them as well. So I'm wondering, are they, people like them, are they good assets to you? Will they speak to the community? Will they talk to other people about what they've experienced?
Yeah, they talk to other people, they talk to neighbors, and they talk, especially Marcos and Susie, because they receive like hundreds and hundreds of people on the weekends now. So and even during the pandemic, it happened because it's a very open area. So people who couldn't stay indoors anymore went there. So yes, they talk to people and they talk about the importance of Jaguars, the importance of cougars, and mainly they say how they can survive, how they can coexist, because he continues to have Jaguars and cougars basically on his backyard. But now he knows that his area is protected, the management is good, and he's making money off them. So he not only knows today the intrinsic value of them, but also he can make money. This is our success case. Not all the cases we work are like this. Not many people are easily convinced, but it is possible. We believe it's possible. And they are like, Marcos is like our ambassador. And this is what these people become, ambassadors. It's amazing.
Yeah. So speaking of the successes, you work with kids, you work with adults. Do you find one group easier to get on board, to change their minds, to get them, between the kids and the adults?
Oh, the kids are very open, because the kids still don't have, kids are kind of afraid, but they still don't have the years of being afraid that an adult have, because in adults, the fear is very deeply inside and you have to work to take it out. With kids, it's easier because kids are still easily touched by enchantment. Thiago and Aline, two of my staff, they did this small play where Thiago is the hunter and Aline is the jaguar. And the public, the children, they can interfere if they want. And it's amazing how kids attack the hunter and totally they protect the jaguar. Say, no, go that way, the hunter is coming, go hide. So it's like in 5 minutes, kids are completely defending the jaguar and like hunting the hunter. It's very easy and it's a pleasure to see.
All right. So you mentioned there's 10 cities around the park. Are the Jaguars fairly cautious, or will they venture right into those cities?
Jaguars are most stay inside the jungle. Eventually, they go to properties and predate, but properties that are very close to the national park.
Yeah.
Cougars they have more plasticity, ecological plasticity. So cougars go a little bit more. They go under sugarcane plantations, corn plantations. So it's easier to see cougars outside the forest than jaguars, but it happens eventually. But it's more difficult than seeing cougars or pumas.
So just kind of on that question as well, in the map that you showed, there was lots of roads. Are roads an issue with the Jaguars, so crossing the roads? And is anything like underpasses or overpasses being used?
No, we have no passages for fauna in the region, what is terrible. Inside the national park, when jaguar was killed in 2009. After that, never, but 2018, a female was killed by a car in Argentina. On the other side was a female. She was pregnant with 2 babies. And so it was terrible. And we have a big issue here, because the national park, in the past, there was a road that cut it in half that connected to cities. And it's closed now since 2003. And there's eventually this political pressure comes and goes to open this road. And now at this moment, we are facing this threat again. So if it is open, it's terrible for animals being hit by car, for hunters to get in, for illegal activities that can bring people and kill jaguars. So yeah, road is a problem. We don't have here since 2009 any jaguar killed by car, but we just released a cougar that was hurt by a car 3 years ago, and another institution made a rehabilitation for 3 years. So yeah, roads are always an issue near national parks or where we have animals.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, that graph you shared was scary to see the numbers fall so much, but it's good to see that it's
Yeah.
trending in the other direction. I have no doubt it's because of the amazing work that you and your team are doing, changing minds in the community, and like you
I
said,
hope
doing it
so.
with love.
I hope so. No,
Yeah.
I believe so. I believe that there's love. Love is the way. And I know it doesn't sound scientific, but really, you have to do that. We have to touch people's hearts, otherwise, you will not change the minds. It's for me. It's very in 30
Well,
years working with conservation of other species. This is very clear for me, I guess.
yeah. People protect what they love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, Yara, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on day one of the Global Biodiversity Festival. Thank you for the work you're doing and being here with us to share it with our festival attendees.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a pleasure, and I wish you all a great festival.
All right. You have a great weekend, and I hope you're able to tune in a little bit more. Thanks, Yara.
Okay, bye bye.